All right, guys, we got our 3D bow picked out for 2023. We're going to cover the reasons why I picked the PSE Omen, what I'm going to put on it for rest, what I'm going to put on it for sight, for scope, for stabilizers, for strings, for Peep Sight, and why. So stay tuned. 2023's 3D bow. Let's go. All right, guys, honestly, it's a really hard decision to pick out what rest to use. I've never used the primer before. I've always just went straight to the Epsilon. I shouldn't say always. Since the Epsilon came out, that's kind of been my go-to rest. I do really think that the Hamsky primer is a super good rest. I like that it doesn't have as many mechanical components. It just pulls down with the limb. However, since we're going with the PSE Omen and I don't want to build the same bow over and over again, I'm going to go ahead and use the PSE Ultra Rest, the HDX here. Never had a problem with any of the Q80 products. I'm excited to use it again. I can add a little bit of flair to it. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So let's get this thing mounted up. Center shot. All right, so I got everything wrapped up, changed out the pull cord to red, all this red stuff here. We're going to try and run with that. Keeps everything held down nice and tight. Hopefully this lasts real good. It looks sick this way. It's a little bit of a custom touch there. So super nice part with the PSE. Mounting options. I'm going to flip this around so hopefully you can see a little bit at least. So it's got this little nub here. See that? Sticks out from the rest. So single bolt. And all you do is pop this guy on there. Okay. And it sits nice and snug up against the riser. So snug. I'm going to find that bolt. Here we go. What's going on here? Got another goodie on the floor. Gross. All right, so let's get this thing in there nice and straight, shall we? We shall. All right. So that's it. It's not even tight, and it really can barely move in there. You see that? It's a beautiful thing. So crank that down. And right out of the gate, let's put our little PSE sticker in there. If you lose that, it comes with 2 in the box, which is great. Okay, happy days. Now hopefully our center shot's good. I use this bow for my testing, but so now with this, I get to just run this to here, no issues. And it will pull down far enough. So there's our rest. Looks pretty sweet. So I'm going to be running the Fast Eddy XL again this year. I really enjoyed this setup. Not too much changed, if anything, for the Fast Eddy. The UV3 is still current. I'm going to run the UV3 again. I really liked the UV3. I like the smaller housing. It was super nice to shoot through. I'm using the double pin Hunter for 3D. I'm not magnifying anything. I had a great experience with it last year. The only downfall I had was at low light. We went around on our home course just for fun. And in those low light conditions, it wasn't very good, just because the peep size is quite small. But if you're reaching out to that 120 yards, which I will be, of course, that's where this really shines. Gives you a great picture. I just see no reason to change from it. So we're going to use the Fast Eddy Spot Hogg Fast Eddy XL with a UV3 scope. And of course, I'm going to change that bubble. Change that bubble out to red here. Okay. So we'll get this mounted up right now. Gonna mount it to my upper holes because I'm quite certain this thing is gonna have more than enough room to get right into the way of my arrow path. Yep, no problem. So we're gonna keep it up there. I'm happy with that. Now I am gonna be keeping my factory strings. I was gonna change them out for a pure red set or a red and black set, but I keep hearing everyone talk about how crappy these factory strings are, and I just want to run them and see. So that's what we're going to do. And for Peep Sight, I am going to use the specialty archery peeps. I was thinking I might use a red one, but I think I'm actually going to use a black one just because the red is a little bit different than the reds on the rest of it. I have a black one here. Oh my. Apparently I don't have a black one here. Okay, there we have it. I'm going to use the red. I like going with the 1/4 inch large hooded because you can downsize them. And I haven't had any issues with that whatsoever. So we'll do that again. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but you get this little tool here. So there's an insert inside of here that threads in. The threads act as a bit of a glare block. So now I do put a little bit of string wax in there. I know I'm going to have to go smaller, but for now, put a little bit of string wax, just so it stays nice and tight, doesn't loosen off. There we go, nice and tight. Happy days. Now we'll go back over to the press. Get this peep placed in. Just gonna scooch over here and check the height on my levitate because it's fairly close. So good. Good for our first draw. Now I'm at 29, I believe, right now. So we're going to see how that feels. Just take definitely have to be running some pretty small fletchings in here. So I'll be running the Scott Sigma again this year. Fits my face, I like it. Just gotta draw this back and see how that timing is. Oh yeah, we got just enough room. Peep height feels good. Let me get a little more into my shot here. Does feel a little bit short, to be honest. So we'll do that one more time. I'll take this grip off too. I'm going to shoot without the grip. Touch low. Just a touch low. there it is. Okay, peep height set. Timing is good on this guy. I'm just gonna give this a little pull through and see if it's still gonna land. Timing marks aligned, not too tight. All right, sick. I hit something there. Anyways, whatever. There we go. All right, let's get rid of this thing. This monstrosity here. Now I'm really hoping that these 250s I built are gonna work for this bow setup. I got 100 in the front, I believe. 100 grains of brass, but I can change that, no problem, no worries. Oh, we're pretty close there. It does have to come up a little bit though. Okay. Now, I eyeball this. Because it works, which is just great. Come on, baby. A little bit more. Oh, we're right at the top of the burger holes. I think we might be all right there, actually. Great clearance. Okay. Well, we're gonna do that. We're gonna see how it shoots. So there we go. I don't know how that looks on the camera, but that's where it's gonna sit. I guess we can pop this grip off. See how that feels. I have a carbon bow if I want a nice cushy ride, which I'll be going through next. My hunting setup for 2023, which I'm super excited about. Couple changes, nothing too crazy as I mentioned in my previous videos, but oh man, yeah, that's way better. Woo. Beauty. I'm happy with that. Okay. Sights on, peep. I'll tie this peep in right now. Oh, I will need to drop it down. My guess is 3/16 or so. So I'm going to pop this guy in there. We'll see what that looks like. See, for these guys, you can just get these boxes with different size peeps in them. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. So you can adjust it for low lighting conditions or for how far your sight is away. You know, customize it however you need it that day or that week or that month or that year or whatever. Just pop it in here and screw it in. This is the one that fell on the floor. That's good. Okay, see how that feels. Tie that peep in right now. And then I can take a shot. So for tie-in, I just do Really basic knots, nothing crazy. Doesn't move unless something's seriously going wrong. So I'm just going to take some red serving here and get her locked in. I got the new Tacticam 6.0 recording one of the angles since I joined Team Tacticam this year to get some good footage. I'm definitely looking forward to running no trail cameras again this year. I sort of felt obligated to run trail cameras and sharing that with you guys. But I do think running without trail cameras is something only a few guys are really doing. And being able to share with you what I look for when I'm going to set up and the way that I'm staying mobile. I think you guys are going to enjoy watching it, I hope. And hopefully it's productive. It certainly was last year and the year before. So it's just getting my bearings in the areas here. But I really like the idea of hunting somewhere that you've not hunted before. I like going and scouting new zones and kind of figuring it out, and then being able to pack up and go really easy. And it's just been working really sweet. That single sticking with saddle hunting was the game changer for me. All right, so we're tied in there. Come back around so you can see it on the other camera here. All right, so there it is. Nothing crazy. Not the prettiest job in the world. Usually I'm a little more OCD than that, but that's okay. That's how we're gonna run it. Okay, I'm gonna change out that bubble. I'll change that out to the red one here. That one's gonna go in just to match the red and black theme we got going on here, everywhere except for the fast steady. That's okay, that's okay. All right, yep, it's gonna look good. It's gonna do the trick. Hopefully you can see that a little bit at least. Now, if you go too tight on this bubble, it does cause it to deflect, okay? So if you deflect it a lot, the issue there is even if you're not perfectly squared or perfectly centered in the or perfectly vertical, that thing's going to give you some lenience because the bubble will be like this. So even if you're 5 degrees off, it's still going to show center, right? So you don't want to lock that bolt down too tight and flex that housing. But there we go. Red one is in. Hopefully you guys can see that. Sweet, sweet. Okay. So next up, what are we going to do next up? Stabilizers, I guess, hey? And third axis adjustment is set. All right, I was really thinking about the AE Mountain Series again on both bows, but I want to switch it up a little bit, so I'm going to run a 10-inch Hitman. I'm just going to see how it feels. I really like the color change options. Obviously, I'm going for that. So, Trophy Ridge, Hitman, 10-inch. It's got the quick disconnect component built into it. It's a pretty awesome setup. I might switch out to the 12-inch. We'll see how this feels. I might have to add some weights. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to wait until I get out there. It's still, we got a few feet of snow here still, unfortunately. Winter is not going away, so we'll try this 10-inch, just running a front bar again, not doing the back bar quite yet. I want to see how good I shoot without them. We'll go from there. But 10-inch is going to go on now. Locked in. Trophy ridge is visible. I like it. It's nice and tight. Everything is squared away. Yep. It's looking pretty fine. I might go with blacked out ultra view housing. We'll see. We'll see. I got a little bit of gray here, a little bit of gray here. So it's not too out of place. Okay, well, let's pull it back and take a shot and just see how it feels and see what arrows we're going to be running. I'll have to shoot it through. Actually, you know what? I'll grab the scale quick and we'll just see what we're pulling for weight. Peep's a little bit big. The draw length feels okay. It does feel a little bit short, sort of, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And down. So I'm showing 66.5 and 68 or 6.8 holding. Let's just try that again. That seems a little bit low. I am bottomed. Okay. .3 and 6.6. This is a 70-pound bow. Pretty interesting. Ah, there we go. There's where I hit the poor thing. Beauty. Okay. Well, let's take a shot and just see how it feels quick. Gonna have to twist up some cables. Definitely want to be shooting 70, I think. Man, that is just so nice. It's feeling pretty quick. I might put some super quad dampers in here just for looks. I think I'm gonna go with black ones, not red ones. We'll see. I'm not sold on that yet. I'm pretty happy with the way that shot and that felt. So maybe I will leave it at 66 pounds actually on second thought here. We'll see. I'm shooting for 300 feet per second out of this bow. So I'm going to go and see what it's looking like at 66. And just see what kind of speeds I can expect from some different arrow builds. And then we'll go from there. I'm going to measure this one more time. It seems so weird. When I was testing it, I was getting upwards of 70. I didn't change anything. Yeah, 66.6 and holding of 6.6, which is right where it should be. Just a little light. One more shot here. Just feels like my timing is on. Yeah, man, this is pretty sick. Thing sends them fast. If I shoot it at 66 and I get 300 feet per second with a fairly heavy arrow, I like heavy for 3D, not super heavy, but like reasonably heavy in the 450 to 500 range. I do like that just because if there's any overhanging brush or anything like that, it's not a big deal. You can usually poke through a leaf or two and not be all over the map. But I might end up twisting these cables up. Stay tuned, we'll see what I do. All right, so I just got a new subscription to the Pinwheel software, but it seems like every time I get a new subscription to the Pinwheel software, for some reason my database won't update right away. Mine just expired a few days ago, so apparently I overlooked it and didn't renew it in time. So instead of waiting around for an email to come back from those guys, I went ahead and got a subscription to Archer's Advantage as well. So I've input all the details from the bow. I got my arrow set up. I got this arrow set up, entered in it. Okay, so again, what I was hoping to do is get 300 feet per second. I'd like to use the 250s with some point weight up there just to help steer these things through windy conditions, or if they touch anything or whatever. I had to pull this insert out just to make sure it was 75 grains, which it is. So I got the Easton 75s in here, the break-offs. These guys right here, oh, those are the hit inserts. Anyways, they're the Easton 75 50 grain brass. That's what's in here, full 75. So for the bow specs, my bow configuration, we know we're pulling about 66.7, 66.6 pounds. So the PSE Omen peak weight 70, we're gonna go 66.7. We have that. So with these arrows, I'm sitting at 287 feet per second with 250s, and my shaft selector shows that these are a touch stiff, I think, at 66. But when I bump up to 70, we are in the money. Sorry, my internet is brutally slow right now. Oh, it's because I'm a mile away from my router. Come on, baby. Man, these things spin sweet. I'm just gonna stop the video and start it again. Alright, sorry about that. We're listening. Loading. You have to tether off my phone. Still says my database subscription is expired on the software for Archers Expert for the Pinwheel stuff. So we're just going to abort that one. Maybe one day it'll update. Okay. So back to this one, Archer's Advantage. Here we go. Okay, so I'm showing marginally stiff at 66.7 for my peak weight, but I do think I'll bump it up to 70. If I bump up to 70, I should be pushing about 294 feet per second out of this 525 grain arrow out of the PSE Omen. So we're going to put that to the test right away here. My ATA I measured up, and I am a 1/4 inch long. So I'm not sure why it was pulling 70 earlier just fine. It might have just been because it was colder. I'm not really sure. Nonetheless, we'll get this thing shooting 70 or pulling 70, and we'll shoot this thing through the chronograph and see how it does. And then I'll make sure that this bow is chucking arrows out to the left, because those arrows are fletched with a 3 degree left. So I do like that. I'll keep that. I had really good success shooting long range with the Levitate last year with that exact array. So let's see how it does. Let me get this thing cranked up so that we can pull some 70 pounders and shoot this thing through the chrono. Stay tuned. Okay. Pretty excited about this one. Let's see what she says. I'm anywhere near 295. That is what we want to see. That one was a 287. 289. Ooh. $288. There we go. So $288 it is with 125s. Now, if I want to bump it up a bit, I can either spin those up a bit more because I do have a little bit more to get to my 33-inch ATA, or I pop hundreds in and shoot them. Let's see how hundreds do. $295. $295. So I might bump my point weight down to 175. So I got 14.44% FOC. My program shooting at 300. So I'm about 295, give or take. So that might be the play. Still slightly stiff on my spine, which I'm okay with. Spinning sweet, which I'm really satisfied with. Okay, so there we go. I think I'm going to bump my point weights down to 100. Get back up towards that 300 foot per second mark. Yeah, beautiful thing. So I've got 6 already made. I've got different arrow wraps coming. Some house brands, which I'll end up switching out, but man, oh man. Let's see if I can get this thing angled over a little bit. All right, guys, so there you have it. The PSE Omen coming in at just shy of 300 feet per second with a total arrow weight of about 500 grains. Peep set, everything's ready to rock. It's a little bit big in here, but the lighting's pretty dim, so when I go outside, that's going to make that just right. Feels good. There's a little bit of vibration in this bow. It is a speed bow. It doesn't bother me at all. I might throw some limb stops or limb dampers in there just to see how it makes, see how it feels in the shot process after it's all set up like that. I definitely like the Fast Eddie XL on there. I'm much happier with it on this bow than the Levitate. I can't even notice the weight of it on this bow. On the Levitate, because it's so light, I did notice the weight a lot. So pretty happy with this setup. This is going to be my 2023 3D bow, the PSE Omen. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider subscribing. I'm really shooting for that 1,000 sub mark. We'll keep it going. We'll keep it coming. Stay tuned for the next one. You guys, I got to apologize. I started celebrating early and I totally forgot to run this thing through paper just to see how she's shooting. I'm sure people are going to be interested because this doesn't have all of those easy adjustments, which those easy adjustments wouldn't have helped me anyway to achieve my ATA and all that stuff. So was the Easy 220 a much needed upgrade? Or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Let's just see. Let's just see how this thing shoots. Okay. Let's shoot it through some paper from point blank and just see how it shoots. Now, I've been watching a few guys lately, and they've been shooting. I'm watching a few guys lately, and they've been shooting through paper and not really caring all that much, as long as it's within like 1/4 of an inch. So I'm more of a perfect bullet hole kind of guy. And I do have another 6. Ooh, what am I doing? What have I done? What did I do that for? Huh? Okay. This thing here needs to come down because it's not quite level. I really like when things are perfect bullet holes. So So what we're going to do, we're going to try and shoot and see. Not going to try, we are going to shoot, and we are going to see if we're getting the perfect tear or not. And if we're not, we're going to see what needs to be done to fix it. Again, the shimming systems are great. The problem is things not the prettiest, eh? Not the prettiest. It does work quite good. Okay, so let's see if I can torque the bow bad enough to make a tear. See if the bow is going to tear. Sorry, I was talking for filler here. Okay, let's see how it does. Well, I don't know. You guys are going to have to tell me what you think. Let me grab this camera here. And tell me what you think of that right there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. How is that for? Is that a bullet hole or is it not? To me, that is a stinking bullet hole. So the Easy 220 cam shimming system there. It wouldn't help me get my ATA set up and my poundage corrected, and it wouldn't on the Elite Omnia, wouldn't on that system either. So yes, you can move your cams around at home. You can do some work without a bow press, but you can't do all the work without a bow press. So it really depends on what you expect out of your bow. But I still would need a press to change strings or to set ATA or to do any of that stuff. So I could make it better by myself, but I couldn't make it exactly what I want it to be. I need the equipment, or I need to visit somebody who's willing to spend the time with me to make my bow exactly what I want it to be. So you might just have to make that 2.5 hour drive or 3 hour drive. I spent my whole life driving that distance to get to a bow shop. I don't see what the big deal is. I'm worried about some of this easy adjustment stuff. I mean, nuts and bolts strip. We've already got things rattling inside of cams, right? There's brass in there now that's rattling around, loosens off. These things are brand new. In a year or two, I can only imagine how many bows there's going to be out there, how many bows there are going to be out there that got strip bolts everywhere because DIY guys are reefing on them. And if the bow shops feel like it's necessary to set up a bow in 5 minutes and that's it, that's all the time you have to give to your customers, I do get that, especially if you're in a really busy setting. But for those customers going to those stores, I would say probably step away from that store and go and find one that's willing to spend some time with you to set your bow up the way that you want it, to explain to you why they're doing things the way that they're doing them. I mean, there's a whole lot more to it. You guys seen the process that I follow. I set a goal, I achieve it. That's how it's done. It takes time. Every bow I set up takes a couple of hours typically. Some people might say, oh, that's way too much or whatever. I'm losing money. You can charge people for your time as a shop. I do it all the time. I own an automotive business. My time is worth money. I do this as a hobby. People respect that. They'll respect you if you're good at what you do. Anyways, guys, I got a bullet hole with no adjustments necessary. I did have to twist up the strings to get that poundage up. It is what it is. Shooting good. Those arrows are going to work real good for me. I didn't have to build any extras. I do have a few more back there that I'm going to spin up eventually here when I get some more wraps in. I do have some, but they're 7-inch and I want to go 5-inch. Those are 4-inch. So there's going to be a little bit of variation in weight back there, but that's not a big deal. Thanks for listening to my rant. Thanks for checking out my 2023 3D bow build. See you guys on the next one.